Morning. We're going to work on this fuel sender for this Suzuki because I can't find one that fits right. So physically it's fine, electronically not so much, but I think it's just corroded. So first thing we're going to do is I've hot glued these down because I only have so many hands, and we're going to go ahead and knock any corrosion off these because they're old and they're old. Alright, so as you can see, we're on 0 there, and we'll just see how this plays out. It's all the way at one end of its travel. Nothing. All the way at the other end. Nothing. Hold these in a little different spot. Nothing and nothing. Okay, so this one's covered, so it's your if it's got juice to it, which I'm sure it does, it's this wire. There doesn't seem to be any junction in there, so that's good. So the next thing we're going to do is just touch the terminal here, that wire that we can get to alright, so the black and white wire is good. I'll go ahead. Just nibble off that little piece of rubber. There's a piece of bare insulation right there. We're going to help that out a little bit. And we'll re-insulate that here in a little bit, but for right now, we're wanting to make sure well, you're not going to get any readings with a bad wire. See, it comes through there and attaches to right here. Little drop of solder right there. So we're looking at what used to be a yellow and black wire, which is now sort of a whitish and black wire. Well, I had this bright idea. I'll just super glue them things down, and that will. Okay, so it's just backside terminal. It's bad. This is actually fine. The wire runs straight up through there, up and into this case. Well, that noise with them dogs is just amazing, isn't it? Inside the building. I'm sure you can hear it. And that little dog is actually on the other side of the yard. She's part shepherd of some sort, and she's got one of those piercing little barks. So these are tabs that fold. You're going to want to be real careful. You don't need to just make them perfectly flat. You need to kind of bend them out of the way. Too much trouble trying to make them perfectly flat can actually come back to bite you. Yeah, I'm pretty hard on that pocket knife. It was free, and I like it because it's big enough to be a prying device. Nothing on there. Here's where we get into what we're doing. There's a bunch of wire here. Oh, there it is. There's a broken wire right there. So basically, there's a bunch of wires here, and they provide a varied resistance based on the position of this. Transmitting, it's a ground to ground is what it is. So this is a case ground of sorts, grounds the entire thing, and then your resistance from ground is based on where this touches. And there's a little broke wire right there. Underneath that. So the trick now is to get a soldering iron in there and replace this piece of wire, this little cloth covered piece. And at the same token, clean this up without messing it up. So first we're going to try to clean that up. It's as low as this machine goes. There really is no good way to get that off there, so we're just going to bend it back. This here seems to have come off its track because it loves me, so we're going to get to redo that anyways. Yeah. See how did that go? It's got a little cutout. And a screw on it. This was apparent, yep, slipped right over there. Well, I wish I could find one of these I liked on the aftermarket that actually fits. So this would need to be about there. This would need to be way up there. I don't know about you guys, but I can hear every movement that hound dog makes from in here. So our next step is to remove this screw and I guess grind off that part that they have flattened there. Well, I am kind of amazed that that screw came loose. Alright, so this is right about, if I had to choose a spot that was in line, or actually it would be in line with this, as to where that tab goes that touches that, and I'm going to make a scratch mark. That should give us a locating, kind of an indicator, if you will. I'm gonna need to get some tools. Plug that in. So that's loose. The only thing left is a little bit of slag looking junk there. This moving independently of the plate that everything's supposed to be. So I've already figured that out. That's right. We know why it's acting stupid. This thing worked back. It's gonna fight me. That's what it does. It's its purpose in life. Oh, come on now. Well, maybe there's just enough swell there that I can't really see. So that goes on like that. That's the outer piece. And it's got an inner piece here. One of them. And then this, which we've already looked at, and already wire wheeled, and it went. A little tang on here somewhere, I'm sure. See here, where was it? There was a scratch mark, right there. So that went just like that. The problem is, this will still have to conduct electricity. Alright, I need a socket and a real small punch. Because I think once it's on there, it'll be good, but a little bit of solder probably wouldn't hurt anything, but that's going to be a son of a gun to solder on there. So it looks like they just staked it on. Switch out tools here. So no matter what we're doing, we're going to want a nice clean connection. Wire wheeled everything except for our scratch mark, kind of everything on that barrel, and then okay, and pull that out of there, behind that little tab, pull this out here. That big tab of solder almost makes this look like it's been done before. It's not real heartening. Now could maybe find a way kind of around it like that and take up less space, but that's not really the right way to do it. And this wire is rough looking. It is copper. So we're gonna throw our wheel action on here. And then we're going to wire wheel this other thing. Yep. Okay. Well, that's about as good as it's going to get. Now we'll just figure out a way to stake this on. Because you can see where they did it. If you look real close, staked right there and right there, and that lines up fairly close with where we guesstimated the marks to be. Probably really close if I turn it over right. Oh yeah, right there. Alright, so that's that. I have to get a real small socket or something and try and tap that in. Alright, so if I were a socket, that's a 5.5 mil and it's still just about too big. Dang. This is a 4 millimeter. That's about right. Alright, that. We're going to cheat here in a second. That lined up with where it was. Here's where we're cheating. Now I know, a lot of people don't use hot glue for stuff, and that's fine. But I only got 2 hands, and it's nice to not have to just death grip and balance absolutely everything, because that's where you end up screwing stuff up. We're going to use this as our punch, because it's cheap, it's readily at hand, and it's cheap. And I'm going to go find a soldering iron. Okay, so here's something I've been using a while. Yep. The sounds of it ain't gonna be used today. Okay, well that's fun. I don't have any more of the fuel that thing takes. I just checked. We'll get by, we always do. Yep. There's a scratch mark. It's on there. Just like that. Alright, it's on. It actually popped down around that little collar. I don't trust it like this. So we're going to do one more thing that I wouldn't normally do. And we're going to attempt to solder this on. If I can get the flux part. I've been using flux core solder for so long. Let's see if this is flux core or not. Whatever it is, it's got a delicious melting point. I've actually been using this to do a lot of my soldering lately because I thought the other stuff was broke, but I wasn't for sure. Let's see here. I don't see no flux, guys. So back to getting that open. That ain't gonna work. It's enough to break the paint. Enough to get it open. Alright, we're going to cut out the footage of what I had to do to get that open. So just want to make sure all that flux got out of there. Nice clean looking copper. And probably a little bit too hot actually right now, but try. That looks like absolute crap, don't it? It's got a contaminant in it. And that's it, you see, rising to the surface. I thought we wire wheeled it and fluxed it, and it should have been good, but I will say it did pull some of the solder down in early on, but that looks like absolute poopy sticks. We'll check it in a little bit when it's not so flipping hot and see how it's doing. We'll say it was hot enough to keep the socket going there. Since we don't have a formal soldering iron today, because I'm out of butane, we do have a hound dog. Anybody need a hound dog? That thing is loud. I can't use a torch directly on this next piece. Because it's got a plastic backer on it. I know what I said. I lied. It's got this plastic. There it is. See, that's what it is. It's solder over a copper core with a copper wire wrapped around it. That's why this thing's so weird. It's not just a big. I mean, it is a big drop of solder, but it's a big drop of solder around a copper shaft that comes up out of there. So that makes some sense right there. All right. Now, got this. Little piece of pink wire, genuine General Motors pink, inside of an engine harness. And go ahead and start approximating how big that strip piece of wire needs to be. Needs to strip off a little more than that. There. We're going to try and dry fit this piece so we know it'll fit pretty well where we need it to. Like that. Oh, it bends a little off. That, maybe. Yeah. Now it's going to need to go through this hole here. So go ahead and pull that through. Trying not to get it stuck on that assembly in there. Now I know what you're thinking. But for a guy who likes to hold stuff with hot glue and this and that, that would be a perfect opportunity. It's really not. That stuff doesn't hold up well to gasoline or solvents. So there's that. Alright, we got some of the flux down in there. Trying to get a little more. Now, my solder collection is mostly stuff that came that I bought this big container of old solder from an auction, and I'm about down to the last of it, so some of the stuff's kind of nasty, and I'm sorry about that. It's really not the right, you want this stuff to be just as clean as if you were going to TIG weld with it, or maybe more so in some ways, but I wish I had a smaller torch for those. That works for not very good. It is pulling down in the wire, which is good. actually used to sell funny looking paddles, similar to screwdrivers, just for what I'm using that one for. Make sure that's when they're solid. It is. Now comes the not so fun part of trying to get this where it needs to be. Because there's a little tab right down in there. I have to throw water cutters in here. Oh. Now there'll be room for me to have a little extra, which is what we're going to bank on here. So we can do all our wire work here, and then if there is a little extra, it'll be just a little bubble out here. And as with most solder type things, it's best to pre-tin this stuff if at all possible, which just means to get some solder down in that wire. You'd be amazed how fast these little pieces of wire like this take solder. You actually gotta, but they don't hold heat for a damn. I mean, you'd be amazed how fast they take heat. But they don't hold it as well. And that is where you get in trouble, because they'll heat up real fast, and then you'll go to like try and use, because they tell you you're supposed to melt the solder with the hot part instead of heating the solder. That's fine, but the wire doesn't have enough mass for that. So you really need it to be fastening to something that does have enough mass. And that's one of the many ways you can get in trouble with these things. Now there is a little lump of solder right there, and we're going to try and re-wet that is what we're going to do. And in doing so, we're going to perform some bends here to get this to where mechanically it wants to stay there. That does two things. One, it makes our job doing the soldering a lot easier, and two, it removes the mechanical element so much of the solder. So that way when you're attempting to actually like use the part later in life, you're not fighting. The solder isn't holding that down. It's held there because it wants to be there. The solder is just providing the electrical connection, which is very much so preferable. I don't even know. This block of creation here came with the house. It's super fun. I'm going to have to put a new top on this, which is fine. I've already got some melamine for it. I just haven't done it yet. Alright, so there's solder down in it now. knocked the wire off the solder pile. Trying to melt it down into it, and it just fell off the side. Alright, I think we got her saved there. Now, back to check this. We got the little bump we talked about. Got new solder wired in there. A wire soldered in there. It looks like absolute hell, but it probably worked fine. Got a, I need to get a bigger power strip for over here. That's what I need to do. Alright, clean that up a little bit, and then I want to clean up this edge here, because there's a gasket that goes around here. Okay, oh shoot, forgot to go back over this one more time on the end, because I have to do something interesting there. Alright, get that. That's cooled off, that's nice and tight there. That'll wear in just a little bit, but I think we're good. Crud knocked off of it. This goes, there's a little washer. There it is. It goes back to a crimp, and then it goes down. And we got this, which goes like that, and this goes over it. It's on, but I got that arm wrong freaking side of that other arm tab. There. Alright, that's on, that's in. Straighten this tab back out. There's a little screw. that I used this screwdriver on. There it is. Alright, so that's all the way up, that should be there. And that's all the way down. Real careful sweep so as not to wreck the thing. I think that needs to be adjusted just a little bit. There's nobody trying to do it right now. The wing needs to actually go down a little bit. There. That. Alright, that's that. Wire on, everything cleaned up. She works. Ta-da! Alrighty, well, that'll go in, this will go in. I gotta double check, make sure I got the right gasket. Some issues with that, but I'm not gonna bother with that cramp because it can't go anywhere as long as that bolt's tight. Yeah, that's it. That's rebuilding the fuel sender unit for a GS550. Please subscribe to our channel, and let me know if there's anything you want to see us fix next. Thank you. Bye.